Hello Cloud Gurus and welcome to this lecture on Update Management. Azure Update Management Solution provides system updates for Azure virtual machines, supporting both Windows and Linux. Before implementing, do check that the exact operating system versions you're using are supported. There's a link provided to the Microsoft documentation within the resources section for this lesson. For example, early versions of Windows Server 2008 only support update assessments. Various versions of Linux are supported, including CentOS, Red Hat, SUSE Linux, and Ubuntu. And it's also important to be aware of certain types of client which are not supported. These include client operating systems such as Windows 7 and Windows 10, Windows Server 2016 Nano Server, and Azure Kubernetes Service nodes. Azure Update Management can support virtual machines both in Azure and on-premise. It makes use of a log analytics workspace. Update assessments can be conducted, alerts provided when updates are required, and update deployments can be scheduled. Finally, the administrator can view the results of an update deployment. Virtual machines managed by Azure Update Management use the configurations shown in this diagram to perform update assessments and update deployments. These include the Microsoft Monitoring Agent MMA for Windows or the OMS Linux Agent. PowerShell Desired State Configuration, DSC, is used for Linux. An automation runbook account is an important element of the solution, and the automation hybrid runbook worker created for each virtual machine. Windows servers need to be able to access either Microsoft Update or Windows Server Update Services, WSUS. Update management can be used to natively onboard machines in multiple subscriptions within the same tenant. Once a package is released, it takes typically 2 to 3 hours for the patch to show up for Linux machines, and for Windows machines, 12 to 15 hours. The computer completes a scan for update compliance, and then the agent forwards the information in bulk to Azure Monitor logs. On a Windows computer, the compliance scan is run every 12 hours by default. And you can also initiate this more quickly by restarting the MMA service. The Update Management solution links the Log Analytics workspace and automation account and is used to view update assessments, install updates, and view update deployments. And now it's time for the Update Management Lab. Ensure you've already completed the Network Watcher Lab. Then create an Azure Automation account. Link the automation account with the Log Analytics workspace, which you should still have from the Network Watcher Lab. Add the Update Management solution. Connect the Windows virtual machine. View an update assessment for that Windows virtual machine. And then schedule an update deployment to install any needed patches and view the results. If you'd like to take the challenge approach to this lab, then please pause the video now. Go ahead and follow these steps, and when you're finished, you can compare how you did it with my walkthrough. If you prefer the guided approach, then I'll see you in the Azure portal now. You've logged into the Azure portal. Begin by going to Virtual Machines and just make sure that your Windows server is actually running. Having done that, select Automation. Before you create the Azure Automation account, just check out the supported mappings between Log Analytics workspaces and Azure Automation in different regions. In your case, you created a Log Analytics workspace in the East US region as part of the Network Watcher Lab. So your Azure Automation account needs to be created within the East US 2 region. Return to Azure Automation Accounts in the portal. Create Automation Account. Enter the name EUS2 Auto. Use the existing resource group. The location should be East US 2. Leave the Create Azure Run As account as yes, and create. The Azure Run As account has now been deployed. Go to the resource and select Inventory. Choose the Log Analytics workspace that you created as part of the Network Watcher lab. In my case, that's App EUS LA, and enable. This may take up to 15 minutes, so I'll fast forward the video until that's complete. The change tracking and inventory solution has now been enabled. Return to the automation account and inventory to see details. Next, select Update Management and enable. The Update Management solution is now being deployed. This can also take around 15 minutes, so again I'll fast forward the video until it's complete. The Update Management solution has been enabled. This only took around 5 minutes in my case. Return to the automation account, select Update Management, and the solution has been successfully deployed. Now, add an Azure virtual machine. Choose the Windows Server and enable. The Windows virtual machine is being onboarded to Update Management. Again, this may take a little while, so once more, I'll fast forward the video. You may find that virtual machine information doesn't show up straight away in this section of the portal under Automation Accounts, so instead, head over to Solutions. Select your Update solution. View the summary. At the current time, this machine is shown as compliant and up to date. However, this is probably just because it hasn't yet completed all of its internal scans. So, wait a little while and come back, refresh the browser, and then take another look. Okay, so now that we've waited a little longer, we can see that the virtual machine does require updates. Let's select this to find out more details. And we can see that at least 3 updates are required. In your case, you may see something a little bit different from this. It will all depend on when you built the virtual machine, how up to date the image was, and when you did this assessment. Next, go back to the automation account and take a look at the hybrid worker groups. System hybrid worker groups. And you should see your Windows Server appear here. Then, go to Update Management. In my case, the Windows virtual machine is now showing in this section. If yours hasn't appeared yet, you may want to just carry on with the next video on the course and come back an hour or so later to see if it's appeared. You can see details of any updates that are required for your virtual machine and schedule an update deployment. Choose a name for your update deployment. EUS Update 1. Leave the operating system as Windows. Select the machines to update. Select the updates category and OK. Leave the update classifications as all and select scheduled settings. I'd suggest you leave the default time, which will be fairly immediately, which is fine for a lab test. Leave the time zone as the default and recurrence as once. And then press OK. Then press Create. And the scheduled deployment has now been created. The update deployment should now be visible under Deployment Schedules within your virtual machine details. I'd suggest returning towards the end of the maintenance window. I'll fast forward the video until that point. Okay, after around 30 minutes, the update deployment has completed. You can check this by going into History, select the update deployment, and you should see a successful update run status and details of patches installed. Going back to the overview screen, as is often the case with Windows updates, now that we've installed a couple of updates, others are now shown as being required, and these will be added in a later update deployment. Well, that concludes the Update Management Lab. If you have any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, feel free to move on to the next lecture.